Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. In today's video, we're going to be running some of our passenger trains around the layout, putting them through their paces. Of note, our white Lego passenger train has been extended out. You can see that we now have 4 passenger cars in the middle of the train, in addition to the 2 locomotives. This is from the additional 3 copies of this set that we recently picked up. We built the passenger cars. The other parts are going into our parts collection for use in other builds. And the big reason for picking up those extra copies of the set was to get some additional power functions, motors, etc., which will be utilized in a few of our upcoming Lego train builds. So really happy to have those power function parts for the other builds, but was really happy to end up with the ability to lengthen out this passenger train. I think it looks really cool and looking forward to seeing how it runs. We'll run a few of the other passenger trains around the layout as well, but I want to start out with this one and see how it performs now that it is 4 passenger cars plus 2 locomotives. Things seem to be moving quite smoothly. Happy with how the passenger train is performing so far. In general, I am hoping to be able to extend out a number of our trains in the coming months here. I just think it is awesome the more cars that you can comfortably pull behind locomotives, and there's a few different ways that we'll approach that, but having the long white passenger train, we've already got the long Horizon Express. I just think having a good number of train cars in with the locomotives is just a lot of fun, both for use here in the layout, but also especially when we get out to shows. So happy to see that this is working quite well. Didn't necessarily expect any issues, but you never know. It's nice to see things behaving the way you expect. It's motoring along pretty smoothly, very consistent. No issues through the corners there. Really nice to see. Now let's try moving to a different vantage point around the layout, and we'll double check that everything is continuing to work well with this locomotive and train before we get another one running at the same time. Yeah, that's moving really nicely, really smooth. And really happy with the length of that train now, adding the additional 3 passenger cars in the middle. Really starts to fill that train out, and it feels like a good minimum length for that particular train. In general, would like to see just how far we can reasonably push it with some of our locomotives and what they can pull. So, expect to see some videos in the coming weeks and months that are focusing in on that. But, for these Lego specific train sets, definitely looking to stretch them out a little bit. That is a nice length though. It looks Great, silky smooth, moving around all of the corners there. Really, really nice to see. Just let it come through the back stretch here and begin to head around before we start getting the next passenger train ready to run at the same time. Yep, that looks to be working quite well. So let's see if we can get a second train running around at the same time. So for our second Lego passenger train, we've got the red one out to run. The red one has been up on the upper train track layout in the Lego room here for quite a while now. So nice to have it back down onto the main layout. I built an extra car for this particular train. I'd picked up another copy of this set, so happy to be able to do a little bit of stretching out for this particular set. Nice to get that second passenger car in there. Not quite as long as the white passenger train yet, but every car helps. Did notice that apparently we are missing a couple of tiles off here. I'll get that fixed up later. And the train does need a little bit of a dusting after being sitting up on the elevated track there for a while, but should be fine for running around the layout here. So let's get these fired up and on the go. I've got the white passenger train moving significantly faster at the moment. We can give a little more speed probably to that red one. Not that they need to go too crazy at the moment, but let's see if we can help it. There, I think I got a little more speed on there. Nice to see the red one down on the main layout again after being on the elevated layout for quite a while now. Both seem to be running quite smoothly. Really happy to have these working well around the layout. Happy to be able to add some additional cars to them. Like I said, I think the additional 3 for the white passenger train make a big difference. And you know, we're on our way to stretching out the red passenger train as well. I feel like 2 passenger cars is really the minimum. You know, I think 2 passenger cars with the 2 locomotives really looks nice and, you know, sort of more believable, I guess, with what one might see in the real world. But, you know, getting up to the 4 on that white passenger train, really awesome. Getting the, you know, we've got the 4 now on the Horizon Express, really works well there. So we will need to work on picking up a few additional cars for the red passenger train. And in general, you know, that's going to be the sort of one of the guiding principles as we continue to build out our sort of real world custom Lego train cars and locomotives. We'll be looking for ways to stretch those trains out in terms of length, and we will keep working on stretching out these Lego set based trains as well. Well, that is working well. Quite happy with that. Having the 3 additional passenger cars built for the white passenger train there has freed up some space around the layout. We had boxes here with those parts. Still need to do a little bit of sorting and organizing, get all the extra parts from those sets stored away into the Acro Mills containers on our parts wall over there. But this is a really good start. Nice to have those train cars built and added in. And the next step will be to start using those motors from those particular sets in some upcoming builds that we have, and to get some previously unmotorized trains motorized now. So lots of work ahead, but this feels like a really cool sort of milestone and update for these two particular trains, and looking forward to continuing to build out the number of train cars that we have for each of these Lego passenger trains. And kind of curious how many train cars we could get into the white passenger train there and still have it move around the layout, in a nice way. Would always be possible to add a second train motor in the back end of the train there as well. So it would be kind of fun to see just how far we could stretch that train out and still have it move at a reasonable pace and, in a reasonable way around the layout that didn't put too much strain or stress on the locomotive. But really happy to see these two trains moving around the layout with their additional cars. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.